Peace and blessings, everybody. This is Real. I'm back again with another video, and I wanted to touch on something that was very near and dear to my heart, and that would be first time motherhood. Yeah, I had my baby about 15 months ago, and I'm a first time mom, and it was very, very difficult, and I'm going to tell why. Um, I wanted to do things that was just not traditional to people in my family or a lot of people inside of my particular culture. Basically, most people that I know have their babies at the hospital. They have their OBGYNs, they get epidurals, they have their babies, they stay there for a couple days, they come home, and then they bottle feed them with, um, whatever their choice of formula is. And so it just so happens that I got pregnant around the time that I was taking a graduate studies class called Women, Culture, and Birth. And the class just rocked my world basically. It talked about the beginnings of uh, birth and how it used to be a woman environment, a women centered environment. Basically, women helped other women give birth to their children. Um, it was it was like a sisterhood thing, and children came into this world assisted by a circle of women who were dedicated and educated, not through books but through experience on how to help a woman go through that journey and do what her body can do. And so once I got educated, I was like a sponge. I absorbed all information that was basically dedicated to that. I wanted to know everything about it. So I read every book from the technocratic births in America, birthing a mother, uh, midwifery books, and how midwifery was demonized in the early 20th century. And then I started to do research on modern midwives. Can I have a midwife in my state? And I found out that I couldn't, so I had to go to another state. I'm only 35 minutes away from another state, so I decided I'm going to go that route. Long story short, I was just mesmerized by, you know, what it meant to let a woman's body do what it was supposed to do. I had my baby at the birthing center. A couple hours later, I came home. I just did not know what to do with her. And I really was one of those people who thought that, don't laugh at me, but I literally thought that breast milk was the cure to everything. Like, I literally thought if I had nursed her, she would be quiet, she would be comforted, she would be not only nourished, but she would sleep as well. And that just did not happen that way. You know how some people say they'll come home and they'll sleep forever. I never got that experience. I mean, my angel cried from the time we walked in the door for like 2 or 3 nights straight. And then I called her pediatrician, and the pediatrician was like, "Oh, she has colic." And at first I was like, "Colic? What the heck is that?" So I did what I normally do. I went to go get medical research. I looked up colic just to find out that there is no real medical research or real sickness or real illness that babies can have called colic. Babies cry and they go through cry spells. They went from an environment where they were very snug and everything was done for them. You breathed for them, you ate for them, all of their nourishment came through you, and they're being thrust into an environment where that no longer exists. And for some babies, that's too much. That's it's a shock. And for her, I'm sure it was. Anyway, long story short, I didn't get any sleep for the longest time. I was so obsessed with her sleep that I would do sleep journals. Like write down when she would sleep, how long she would sleep, what days of what time of the day she would get all of her sleep, and it wouldn't be very long, and I was a disaster. And my midwife took me to get a Moby wrap, I'm telling you that the Moby wrap kind of saved my life a little bit because it allowed me to be free from holding her, and I could tie her to me, keep my breast milk supply high, and get things done around the house. Um, but I still couldn't keep it on all day. I literally couldn't keep the Moby wrap on all day. And even when I would have her beside me and have my, nursing her as I slept, she would, when that milk went out, she would cry. I would have to switch her over. I would never get any sleep. It drove me crazy. And so, even though I had a love, and I still do have a love and an affinity for attachment style parenting, I started to do other research. I came across this book called uh, Healthy Sleep Habits, Happy Family. Healthy Sleep Habits, Happy Family. It's by a doctor named Dr. Weissbluth. Now, some people really hate him. They feel like if you listen to him, you're neglecting your children. Because basically he says that some children can thrive without a schedule. They're carefree, they're fine, they're getting their hours of sleep. Some children need structure. They really need their sleep. And he described the characteristics that children have when they're not getting enough sleep at certain ages, all the way from newborn all the way to adulthood. And she was experiencing all of those attributes of being sleep deprived. She wasn't very happy. You couldn't play with her long. She had to be held, just to be very brief about what I was experiencing. And so I know she needed more sleep. And so what I did was I took the beauty of attachment style parenting, where I could hold her close when she was with me, and I mixed it with Dr. Weissbluth's idea of getting your child on a neat schedule and putting them to sleep and closing the door. And this is how it went because she was so aggravated and sleep deprived. 5 o'clock, I fed her good. I nursed her. By 5:45, I played with her a little bit. 5:45, she was in the bed. I mean, not in bed, in the bath. I got her out of the bath. I wiped her down, rubbed her down, massaged her, put her on her jammies, got a book, nursed her while I read her the book. Nursed her, nursed her, nursed her, nursed her from both breasts. By this time it was 6:30. I actually laid her down in the bed at 6:30. I mean, the sun was up. I'll do another video to talk about all the details that I had to do in order to make that work because my husband bought shades for her room that would darken out the room. And so when you close the shades, it looked like it was nighttime. So I closed those shades. I laid her down. She was not asleep. She was still awake. And so when I laid her down, mind you, she's 9 months. So from what the book said, she was able to get rest and not be crying for that. If she's crying for your love and attention. And so it was very difficult for me, but I laid her down and I closed her bedroom door. And she screamed like a banshee. And they have two styles. You can do an extinction style if it's really bad when you haven't had sleep in a long time. Or you can do what they call gradually. So maybe don't go in for the first 20 minutes, the first 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, go in, let her cry. Then after, wait another 10 minutes, then go in, and then another 15, and then so on and so forth. But eventually they'll get used to that. And I found that out the hard way because that night I decided to do the gradual style. The next night, I kept the same schedule. She was in the bed by 6:30, and I let her cry. She cried for about 20 minutes, which killed me, but she went to sleep. And she literally slept from 6:30 that evening to 6:48 that morning. She got sleep. And I was so distraught that I couldn't sleep. I kept waiting on her to cry. And so that was just, just a brief thing about, trying new things as a new mother. The books are not the answer. Your instinct is. So I mixed what I liked with something that was necessary, and I made it work. And she's 15 months. She's still on the schedule. It's a little different, but that's what it is. She's on her schedule. She's in the bed. It's a little later because as they age, it changes. She's in the bed now by 7:30, or at least 7:15, and she wakes up at 7:30, 7:47 in the morning. Um, if I make sure she gets naps. Again, I'll go into details about how I made it work for me, but I just wanted to just tell women out there, you don't have a high needs baby. You have a baby. You're not crazy. There's no fix for colic. They're gonna grow out of it. You just need a little assistance, and sometimes you got to do some research, and you might not want to demonize one aspect, trying to stick to one thing. Be open mind. And I'll finish this in another video that talked about specifically what I did, my schedule, and how I got her to be the way that she is now. And I'm very well rested now. All right, then. Peace.